Okay, so I'm going to do a video just to show you an example of how you can manage your money by creating a budget. For a living, I am a grant manager, so I manage budgets all day long. I make sure that I actually work for a hospital, so we have a large department and we get a lot of money, and it's my job to make sure that they spend it correctly, that they do spend it, and they spend it on how they intended and on items that they intended. By doing that for years, I guess I got into the habit of dealing with budgets, and I said, if a corporation or a company needs a budget to manage their money, shouldn't I be using that to manage my money as well? So I created a budget, and I use my budget. This helps me to manage my money. It helps me to know exactly where I'm spending. It helps me to not forget any bills, and it helps me to not live paycheck to paycheck. I'm not stressed out worrying about bills or if I forgot to pay a bill. So the basics of a budget is you need to have a section for your income, for your essential expenses, and your other expenses. I'm not using my own personal budget, but I am using the template that I use to manage my money. So I'm using a sample budget based on a person that's a salary employee. They get paid bi-weekly, and they get paid $1,500 every 2 weeks. Now, this is their net pay, because it's very important to use your net pay rather than your gross. Your net pay is what is actually deposited into your account. This person also has an additional income. Perhaps they have a side job, a side gig, or somebody gives them money every month. Whatever. It's best to list all your income so you know exactly what you're working with for that month. After you list out your income, you need to list out your essential expenses. Now, everyone's expenses are different. Everyone's essential expenses are different. For this person, they have rent, they have a cell phone, they have a light bill, they have the cable bill, they have a car note, they have car insurance, and they have miscellaneous items. Within this miscellaneous items, you want to list all your additional expenses that may not be consistent every month, or it may. For example, you may need to list your gas for your car, or you need to list your transportation if you're taking the train or however public transportation, your food that you buy at work, or your food that you spend at month. Anything extra, you need to put it into your miscellaneous items. It's best to over budget that so that you would not be you wouldn't go into a deficit, or you wouldn't be in the hole. So make sure your miscellaneous expenses are correct. What you can do is go through your debit card statements for the month and highlight all those expenses that are miscellaneous so you have an idea of what you spend monthly. Generally, the cell phone bills and light bills, all those things usually stay the same. So that's why I put this is just the average number here. Your car payment is not going to change. It's going to be that way for however long. And your insurance, normally it may go up every 6 months or so. So every 6 months you may want to revisit just to make sure that you are using the correct numbers. Your next thing you need to do is you need to look at your credit cards if you have them and list those out. Now, this person, they have 5 credit cards, a total amount of $4,700 worth of debt. Now, this credit card balances are based on their most recent statement. This is just what we're going to use. Let's say they decided to start this budget in October. They're going to pull out their credit card statements, and they're going to say, well, this is my balance as of October. Then this credit card B, your Chase card, this is my balance at October. So you want to list that out because we're going to develop a plan to pay this all off, right? So you need to list that. Now here, you're going to have your remaining balance, but I'll explain that a little bit later. So I like to put a little summary here, just so I know what I'm working with. Here, I put a little formula here, which if your salary is not changing, it's okay to just, leave it. If you know it's $3,100 that every month, then you just leave it at $3,100. If you're hourly, obviously you need to go in here manually and change it. But this person have a steady income, so they have $3,100. So their total monthly income is $3,100, and their monthly expenses is $2,200. their necessities is $2,200. These are the expenses that you need to pay. You need to make sure that you're covered every month, because this is what allows you to live. So it's very important that you make sure you can cover that. So after this person look at their summary, they see that their income is $3,100 and their total expenses, necessity expenses, is $2,200, which leaves them with a balance of $856. That is your income minus your expenses. This is what you have left to pay your credit cards, to save, to invest, whatever. I also like to put a savings goal of 10. I just put 10% here because that's the standard minimum that you should be saving. We should always save a little something, and I advise to keep a little bit at home. This person, because their monthly salary is $3,100, 10% of $3,100 is $310. So that's your aim to save for the month. Now, if I were you, I would take half of it, maybe put it in a bank, and keep half of it at home, because I believe it's always good to have a little cash on hand at home, not everything in the bank. But you just do it however you want to, but just make sure that you're saving 10% of your income every month. So after our savings, now we're left with $546. That is the money that you have to use to pay your credit cards or anything else you wanted to do. If this person did not have credit cards, they could have saved this money. They could have added to their savings, or they could apply to maybe they want to go on a vacation, so they can save this money. If they're already saving their basics, they can save this money so they can go on vacation, or if they want to make a large purchase. This is what the money they would have if they didn't have credit cards. But this person does have credit cards, so we can't use this money yet, right? It's called sacrifice. We want to pay on our credit cards, and then once that's done, we could use the money for whatever we want to do. So this person has a debt reduction goal. They want to pay off all these credit cards by September 2019. So what I did was, say they're starting in October, from now to September, it's about 11 months, right? October. So what I do is I would take this statement balance, divide it by 11 months, and this is what I got. 107.36. So this is what they will need to pay every month to get close to this goal. Now, granted, I know that there are interest on these credit cards. Depending on what you have, some credit cards don't have interest for a period of time. Some have interest. Some have high interest. Some have low interest. This is fine. We just want to get the basic statement, and we're just going to get as close as possible to paying off this $1,181. More than likely, in the 12th month, you're going to have to make an additional payment, which is going to cover all of the interest that has been accrued on these credit cards. But for now, we're just going to do the basics. So this person, they said, credit card A, they're going to pay $107 a month. This one is $127 a month, $163 a month, etc. So a total monthly payment of $429 per month is going to get them to close to their goal of removing this debt by September 2019. Now, that's going to be a good sacrifice, because they're not going to have that much money left over for the month. I mean, but it's called sacrifice. You have to be able to bite the bullet and do what you got to do to get what you need to get. So how I break it up. Now, for a person that gets a salaried income, they normally get paid every 2 weeks, right? So for October, this person got paid the first 2 weeks. Within the first 2 weeks, they normally have the additional income, whatever it is that they receive. So that first 2 week payment is income is $1,600. So what we're gonna do is, usually I prefer to pay off my rent with one paycheck, just because I just don't like splitting paychecks. But this person can't do that because their expenses are high in comparison to their income. So what you can do is split the rent. This is essential. This is the first thing you need to make sure that you cover with your paycheck, because this is your overhead. Everything else, I mean, this and light is kind of secondary, but your rent is the most important thing. So make sure that you have enough money to cover that. So because this person's income is not that high, they're gonna have to cover their paycheck with two. They're gonna have to cover their rent with 2 paychecks. So what they're doing, they're gonna take $300 of their first paycheck, and you're gonna put it into a bank account, into your savings account. immediately, because once it's out of sight, it's going to be out of mind. If you leave it in your bank account, chances are you may forget, you may use the money, and then you're going to be scrambling to pay your rent, to find the money to cover the rent for the month. Now, when it comes to the rent, although this is in October, this rent is for November and so forth. In November, what is wrong with this? Oh Lord. No, right. November's rent is for December and so forth. Always want to make sure that you're ahead and not behind, because it's harder to catch up when you fall behind. Also, if you're going to be paying your rent late, you're going to be hit with fees. That's extra money that's going to be coming out of your money that you don't want to do. So always make sure that you're going to save this month for next month for your rent and so forth and so forth. The cell phone bill. She's going to put the cell phone bill in the first paycheck. She's going to put the light bill. Everything going to be in this first paycheck, the main items, because that's where it's a little bit higher here. So she's going to cover it there. So after she lists all her monthly necessities, she sees that it's $1,200 worth of necessities, the bills, for this paycheck. She's also going to list these payments, her credit card payments, because she decided that she wants to pay off this credit card. And with this plan, this is the most efficient based on how her income is flowing. So she's going to put her money here for the credit card payment, which is the first pay period, to pay off her credit card. She's going to pay $266 the first week, the first pay period, and $163 the next pay period. And that's going to make sure that's going to be her goal of the $429. Now, after all of this, after her income, her necessities, and her credit card payments, she's left with $89.71. Yes, that's very low, but remember, we already took out savings, and she's already covered for her miscellaneous expenses. That's her transportation and her food and everything. So this extra here is a bonus. If she wants to use the $89, which is not much, if you divide it by 2 weeks, it's about $40-something, but that's the reality of the situation, and it's very important that you operate in a reality viewpoint rather than a hoping. The reality is, this is the income, this is the expenses, this is your credit cards, this is going to be a balance for a period of time, right? So so once I open my budget, say on a payday, it's very important that you open this budget and you pay your bills when you get paid. I can't stress that enough, because if you wait or you procrastinate, I guarantee you're going to use that money onto something else. So the first thing I do when I get paid that Friday, before I spend anything, I open my budget and I go through what I said I was going to pay in that pay period. So if I said I'm going to take this money out for my rent, I immediately take it out. I'm going to pay my cell phone bills and my light bill, I immediately pay it. I open my bank account app and I pay all of that stuff. Once it's done, I go through it and I highlight it. Boom, I know I'm done. I don't have to worry. My bills are covered, and I know what I have left is what I have left, period. Same thing with my credit cards. Once you pay them, highlight them, boom, you're done. You made your credit card payments, you're on track to reduce your debt, you're good to go. It helps to have a good state of mind, because you don't have the worry. And then on top of that, you're managing your money. Your money's not managing you, right? So let's say now we're in the second week of October. Let's say we got paid Friday. Today's Friday and we're getting paid. We're like, okay, we gotta rent is coming up soon. November is next week, so we're gonna move this $900 out into that savings account, and then we're gonna take out our miscellaneous expenses. You can leave it there, or you can remove it, or you can just track it. So just to make sure that you're on track with your miscellaneous expenses, and you're gonna take out your savings. Now I put the savings in here as a bill because technically it is a bill. It's an important bill, and it's you paying yourself. So your savings is taken out, and now you're good to go. Now you're going to go back into your rent, that savings account. You're going to transfer the whole $1,200, because remember you saved $300 already. You're going to add the $900 to it, which is the $1,200, and you're going to pay your rent. So your November rent is covered. You're not behind. Then you're going to make your payment for your credit card. That's the last payment that you said you were going to pay. And then you're going to be good to go. Yeah, you're worry free. All your bills, all your obligations are taken care of. And yes, you only have $26 left over, but it's the reality of the situation. And this is what you're going to do every single month. So you see, November is, oh, sorry, let me highlight these so that you know that you made your payment. So November, you know that this is what's going to happen. This is my plan for November. So you have an idea. You know exactly what is going on for the next couple of months. Once November comes around, you're going to do the same thing. The first paycheck in November, you're going to move that $300 out. You're going to pay all these bills. You're going to highlight it. You're done. Same thing here. You do that every month, you'll be on track. You will not be worried, and you'll be surprised to see when your debt is paid off how your money grows. So let's just say this person decided to add an extra income. Now, this person, obviously, this is like an average salary, I believe. And I was reading an article that said, or quotes, that said, rich people don't look to reduce their expenses. They look to increase their income. Because if you reduce your expenses, yes, you may save some money, but you're chipping away on your quality of life. You're getting up every day, you're working, you want to be able to enjoy something, right? So the best thing you should do is try to increase your income. Now let's look at this person's budget. And if they decided to get another part-time gig, that's going to give them, let's say, $250 every 2 weeks. That's $125 extra a week. You can find a job where you can get an extra $125 a week. I don't care what it is, but you can find a side gig. So let's say they find a gig, they find a job that they can do $250 every 2 weeks. So that's $500 extra a month. Look at how their income, their bottom line increases. So this money would be what left, they can do whatever they want with it. They can apply it to the credit cards to reduce it quicker. They can add it to their savings. They can buy some stocks with it. They can buy some cryptocurrency. They can buy whatever. They have extra money to play with. Look it down here. If they didn't have the credit cards, this is what they would have every month. Now that's a lot of money. I mean, if you was able to not have your credit cards and have that additional income every month for the next year, this is what you will be saving. I don't know why my computer is doing this. It's getting hot. Right. This is what they can save extra for the year. Right? So important. So look to increase your income rather than just live on the edge of your budget and your money. It's very important also to be realistic and face the music. A lot of us put our heads in the sand. We think that, you know what, if I don't see it, then I'm just gonna pay my bills I'm just gonna pay my bills. I'm not gonna really stare at it because I don't want to know that this is my actual money is $40-something every 2 weeks after I pay all my bills and save my money. Some people don't like to do that. So they just spend, pay as they go, and then when their account is in overdraft, they wonder, how did I get into overdraft? Or they wonder why they don't have enough money. It's because they don't have a clear picture of their financial position. Right? Now this person, for example, let's say this person didn't have this additional income here. This is the person that they're living on one paycheck, their basic 2-week salary, and this is their expenses. Now, mind you, yes, the savings goal is going to go down to $300. Look at that. They don't even have enough money to cover everything. They're going to have a net of $26 extra for the month. For the month. That's 26 divided by 4. That's what they will have every week. If they were just living off of this one income alone. But this person is okay. They went and got an extra job or a little side gig. They got an extra $100. This other person, person B, got even smarter, and she got an extra job, $250. Now she has an additional $900 every month. Right? So, it's very important to get a hold of your finances, to be responsible for your money. No one's going to manage it for you. Get a budget. I'm giving you a sample here. If you want this template, I can send it to you. If you just send me an email, I will send it to you. If you want me to do a spending plan for you, that's a different story. You'd have to request that, and and those to do a customized spending plan, it will cost. But the template is free. I can send this to you. It's no problem. So so going forward, it's the end of the year. I think it's very important for us to get in control of our finances. This, especially minorities, you need to be in control of your money. A lot of us came here as immigrants, or our parents grew up in different era where they didn't operate on the system that the U.S. is using right now, as far as the capitalism and capitalism has always been there, but the credit system and the finance system that we use has not always been in place, especially in the minority community. So back in the day, I want to say that maybe the 90s was when the credit system came out, and they flooded them with credit cards. They had no idea. They didn't know what APRs were. They didn't know what interest was. They just knew that they had a card and they can swipe and they can pay a little bit. They didn't understand, and a lot of them got into a lot of trouble financially with those credit cards. Unfortunately, even the whole system of the operation was different. But us as young people who have an idea, who are a little bit more exposed to these things, need to really take control of our finances, not only for ourselves, so that we can teach our parents and we can also teach our children. This is the way to break the cycle of not having enough money or always being in so-called poverty. Right? Teach yourself discipline and responsibility of your money. Then you'll be surprised of what you can do. You can, you save your money, then you have a better idea. Your credit's going to be cleaned up. Then you can look to start a business. You can look to buy property, etc., to remove yourself out of the financial position we've been in for years. So I hope this is helpful to someone. I hope that it was clear. And like I said, if you want this template, let me know. I'll send you a blank one, and you could just plug in your numbers, and it will calculate for you. All right.